Aaron Rodgers, rumors seem to be over, but it doesn't mean they've crowned J.J. McCarthy the new king of the North just yet. Take a listen to McCarthy talking about the starting QB job.
We as a fan base or even media found out like you're the guy, the guy recently. When did you know? When did they tell you, or when was that message to you?
They haven't told me, and I'm happy they didn't, because I try to earn it every single day, and I never want that to be given to me, and it's such a privilege and opportunity to give me that chance, and I'm just going to make the most of it.
That's a good attitude.
Really good answer.
Good answer.
Young quarterback saying all the right things. You know he's going to be the guy, but he's saying, hey, nothing's given to me.
I kind of like that. Kind of like that attitude.
You know, one of us here on this set liked him at Michigan a lot. Remember when I had him in my mock draft top 10 and you kind of sort of scoffed at me?
You a year before the draft, you went on some sort of weird campaign for J.J. McCarthy, and I said it'd be nice if he ever, threw 30 times in one game.
He doesn't do that.
Or if you played from behind or, occasionally played under duress without a great run game and a great coach. It had a very Bama quarterback feel, like I got Saban, a run game, a lead. But I will say, when he did play in the preseason, I liked what I saw.
Well, do you remember that playoff game against Alabama? I think he almost threw a pick on, the second pass of the game.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, JJ, bro, no, don't do this. And then he rebounded. He had a rally to victory. He was very good. I'm just saying, Kevin O'Connell can make quarterbacks pretty awesome.
Yeah, and
I think there's huge upside. They're my sleeper in the NFC if you could win 14 last year.
And most of these Harbaugh Michigan recruits, I like them. They have the right mindset, like the school of hard knocks with Jim Harbaugh. Like, I'm trying to think of any Michigan guy in recent memory I didn't like. Now, Blake Corum didn't do anything for the Rams, but he broke his wrist or something.
Yeah, he was banged up. It was weird that he didn't play more.
But there is some value, and I like Alabama players coming out mostly because they've been hard coached by Saban. And most of Harbaugh's guys, like J.J. McCarthy, got hard coaching. And Jim's not going to suffer fools. So, J.J.'s a hard worker. He's a focused kid. He's smart, because Harbaugh wouldn't have a quarterback that's not.
Yeah. I always think comments like that, I'm happy the Vikings haven't told me I'm the starter. Like, I always laugh at that type of stuff, because that's always a bunch of that's always such manufactured, forced nonsense. And, every day I got to earn it and stuff like that. And, media always eats that up so much. But, that's like political talk, right? That's like saying, I'm for all the people, and it's like, yeah, sure you are. And you can love JJ. I think JJ McCarthy, can be awesome. So that's this isn't a knock on JJ, because they did the same thing with Bo Nix when they were like, Bo Nix, they looked into inside his backpack and all he had was a lacrosse ball to crack his back, and a playbook or something. And it's like, he's just all about football. And it was like, yeah, and he has a cell phone that has everything under the sun he'll ever need. So it's just like the media always tries to build things up so much more than they need be. Like, what do you think JJ is going to say? I'm the starter for the Minnesota Vikings. It's my job. No one can take it because I'm the best quarterback in the history of the NFL, and I'm going to light this league on fire. Like, what do you think he's going to say? So it's just, it's the extreme takes around some of these little sound bites. I always find so funny. But the other thing though is about, kind of some of the criticism around JJ McCarthy. Kind of like what Colin was saying about oh, can you win from behind? Can you throw more than this or that? It's just so funny because they said that about Jalen Hurts, and now he's been to 2 Super Bowls, balled out in both, and is the Super Bowl MVP, and seems to have a fair bit of success. So, I understand the hesitation when you have a quarterback who appears to not be throwing the ball 35, 40 times, who's like a physical beast, who's thrown for over 300, 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, rushing 2, all that type of stuff. I get it. I really, really do. But when high-level coaches want you, especially coaches who understand quarterback play want you, that means something. That means something significantly. And imagine thinking, like, I would have more concerns about JJ McCarthy if one, Harbaugh wasn't his coach and it was, I don't know, just some other non-big college coach, right? I don't even want to name a name, just, because just name anyone you want, quite frankly. And then he got drafted to the, the New England Patriots, before Vrabel, got drafted to the Panthers, etc. Right? Like, it wasn't a Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell, Andy Reid. Like, it wasn't these offensive coaches who, one, have enough power to be able to actually, say, this is the guy that I want, as well as these offensive coaches who obviously have a deep understanding of what it takes to win in the NFL. It's not to say that those guys are always going to hit, but it was like when people doubted Bo Nix, it was like, this is who Sean Payton wants. And so again, you think you're going to have a better understanding of whether or not this quarterback is going to work than Sean Payton? Just kind of like you think you're going to have a better understanding of how success, if this quarterback will work more than Kevin O'Connell? Like, it doesn't really make sense. And it doesn't mean that those guys are always going to be right. They can be wrong. I can guarantee you they've been wrong before. But I think my issue always is in these types of situations where it's like, you can have your own doubts. Because I always say, like, you don't always have to defer to like a coach, an NFL athlete, etc., etc. But you could be like, listen, I have my concerns. Like, let's say I had concerns about JJ, which I don't. But let's say I did. Let's say I was like, I don't know. JJ's like, I just don't think he did enough in college, and I don't think he could really carry a team, etc., etc. And so I have concerns about it. But then I would follow it up quickly with saying, though, but Harbaugh obviously loved him and made him, he was on the team, right? Like, Harbaugh didn't need to have him, had him there. And then Kevin O'Connell, who I know is such a great, awesome, offensive-minded head coach, and especially quarterback, he wanted him too. So it's just like, I might be missing something, but like, I don't know. I don't see it working, but clearly those guys do. So like, you have to you have to wait and see, I guess, right? Like, you would still craft a take somewhere where you're kind of like, these guys who clearly know more, who are in the position to make these decisions, are saying this. Like, what does that mean? And trying to wrestle with that. But a lot of times when you have takes, like, they skip over that aspect and are just like, nope, not going to work. Because, did you see that game against Oregon? And it's like, oh, okay. I assume Sean Payton saw that game too. I assume Andy saw that game. I saw Kevin O'Connell saw that. Like, what are we saying here? Like, and so it just, I don't know. It never sits right in that regard. But it's a weird balance between trying to have your own opinions, but then also obviously trusting the opinions of others who have more information, more experience, more like actual personal direct contact with said players. And that's why draft and predictions, they're always so tricky. Because like I said, I can guarantee you Sean McVay, Andy Reid, Kevin O'Connell, etc., they've made mistakes, right? They've absolutely said this quarterback's going to be great, and they were not, or something, right? Or any other player. It doesn't have to be quarterback. But I don't know. I always try to keep that balanced when kind of having these things, and when there's certain coaches that I have such a high amount of respect and faith in, or just at the very least, I trust their competence more than anything, even just at a foundational aspect. Because, in a lot of ways, Kevin O'Connell's still writing his own offensive coaching story here. But at the very least, like, I know how competent and grounded he is. And so the sheer fact that this is where the direction that he wanted to go, it's just like, no matter what my take is or was, I'm going to be like, all right, I'm going to let this guy take the ropes, and then I would just admit, yeah, I don't know. I didn't see a lot with JJ McCarthy, but clearly Kevin O'Connell does. So I guess it's just a way to, like, then you would just like almost leave it at that. I wouldn't, at that point, I wouldn't even be comfortable even airing out doubts, because I would be like, it would like, I would like half do it. I would be like, I don't know. I kind of have doubts, but like, I have doubts about having the doubts now because Kevin O'Connell wanted him. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, so I don't know. I can't quite grasp it, but I'm definitely excited to see what JJ McCarthy finally looks like in the regular season, not just preseason, because preseason really is very, very, very far from actual NFL ball. I mean, just even look at the quarterbacks just last year who played awesome in preseason. Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels, and even Caleb Williams had a moment or two, and all three of those quarterbacks did not hit the ground running in the NFL. They just didn't, right? I mean, it's not to say that Jaden Daniels played poorly, but like he did not become, it took him a few weeks to become the Jaden Daniels that we knew him to be. Same thing with Bo Nix and even Caleb Williams. So using a couple moments in preseason, especially at this point, especially before an injury, before taking all this time away, it kind of doesn't really mean much to me. I'm curious what they do with him during preseason this season now, considering he got injured during the preseason last year. So like I wonder if he'll play at all, if he'll play a little. I really actually wonder how they're going to handle that, because they want him to obviously like get some action, but obviously getting injured before. So, I don't know. That'll actually be curious to think. I mean, obviously we don't have to think about it for anytime soon necessarily, but I am curious to see kind of how they handle that aspect. But everything else kind of seems par for the course. So, it's definitely exciting to see what JJ can finally do on the field, because so much has just been kind of just talking about it. And unfortunately, since he did get injured, we just had a year of just speculation. And now we'll finally, see the rubber meet the road. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about JJ McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings? Are you happy that the Vikings haven't told him that he's the starter? And do you believe he's in trouble because apparently he can't throw the ball more than 15 times a game? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.